And most importantly, I believe that today will be the beginning of a massive success story. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to invite the former dignitaries to light the traditional oil lamp. Secretary to the Ministry of Public Security, Mr. S. Hetiarachi. Mr. Tetsia Yamada, Chief Representative of JICA. Dr. Benjamin Bryant, Secretary General of the Colombo Plan. Ms. M.S.P. Surya Perua, Additional Secretary, Minister of Public Security. Ms. Yuri Ide, Senior Representative of JICA. Ms. Raj Sunkaran, Director, Drug Advisory Program, the Colombo Plan Secretariat. Dr. Samali Rajapaksha, Chairman, National Authority on Tobacco and Alcohol. Mr. H.M.T. Nupurenia, Commissioner General of Prisons, Prison Headquarters. Mr. Puglu Sinasekara, Executive Director, Alcohol and Drug Information Center. Major General. Thank you very much. We are now going to invite the former dignitaries to take their respective seats at the head table. Mr. S. Hetiana, Chief Secretary, Ministry of Public Security. Mr. Shanki Manaikara, Chairman, National Dangerous Drugs Control Board. Dr. Benjamin Bryant, Secretary General of the Colombo Plan. Mr. Tetsuya Yamada, Chief Representative of JICA. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the National Dangerous Drugs Control Board is the pioneer and statutorily responsible state body for the prevention and control of drug abuse in Sri Lanka. NADCB, along with the collaborative partners JICA and the Colombo Plan, organizes international research symposium on drug-related studies to facilitate an active exchange of information among scientists and other national and international level stakeholders on the research of drug abuse and innovative concepts aimed at providing effective drug control strategies. And when we actually talk about this, there's a wonderful, amazing personality who has gone extra mile to give her best, the knowledge and experience. And sadly, she's not with us anymore. Let me give a brief introduction about her to share with you all. Late Mrs. Pavasara Singh was Assistant Director to the National Narcotic Laboratory and Precursor Control Authority of the National Dangerous Drugs Control Board. Her untimely demise is undeniable, a great loss to the National Dangerous Drugs Control Board. She was a government asset who dedicated her time and efforts to eradicate the drug menace and fought against narco-terrorism. She was the backbone of the International Symposium on Drug-Related Studies 2022, and without her knowledge, untimely efforts, and expertise, this quality project will not be accomplished. She should be remembered as a treasured milestone in the history of NADCB. Ladies and gentlemen, to commemorate her, let's have a moment of silence. Please rise. Thank you. And once again, a great thank you to late Mrs. Pavasara Singh for her efforts, experience, and knowledge sharing. With that, ladies and gentlemen, once again, we want to invite you and warmly welcome you to International Symposium on Drug-Related Studies 2022. Ladies and gentlemen, if you do the same thing again and again and again, you get the same result again and again and again. But if you do something different, if you think differently and innovatively, you will surely be able to conquer the world and produce different results. And I believe today we're gathered here to do something amazing for the country and the world. And I believe Each and every one of you deserves a huge round of applause for this amazing initiative. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for this wonderful conference and wonderful initiative. We've got to be ready to conquer the world. Let's now mesmerize ourselves with a beautiful, tantalizing welcome dance. Sit back and enjoy. That was surely a mesmerizing, tantalizing performance. And what kept on coming to my mind was greet you by saying, "Are you born?" As we all know, the beautiful meaning of "Are you born?" is "May you live long." And from the bottom of my heart, once again, I'd like to say, "Are you born?" and "May you live long." The reason is each and every one of you are working hard, sharing your knowledge and experience, and going the extra mile to serve, support, and protect the youth and the humans of our country and the world. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, to officially welcome you, we'd like to invite Chairman National Dangerous Drug Control Board, the Shakir Khan.
Good morning, Honorable Chief Justice, Secretary to the Ministry of Public Security, Mr. Kiarachi, and members of the table, board members, present excellencies, presenters, authors, and the other distinguished guests. You all are most welcome to the International Symposium on Drug-Related Studies 2022. I extend my sincere thanks for joining us today at the International Symposium on Drug-Related Studies 2022. This is the first international symposium in the history of the National Dangerous Drugs Control Board, which is conducted on digital platforms as well as in person for the convenience of all the participants partaking locally as well as internationally. Especially, I extend my sincere regards to our treasured collaborative partners, the Colombo Clan, JICA, for their valuable support and contribution to make this scholarly project a success. It is our pleasure to introduce you to the esteemed guests in this two-day conference who have come from various scholarly dimensions and paths, from the dignitaries from the UNODC, the Colombo Plan, and JICA, to the dignitaries from many parts of the world, including treasured scholars from the prominent universities in Sri Lanka as well. This international symposium provides us an excellent opportunity for researchers, practitioners, and others in the field of drug control and prevention to network with. It would be an honor and privilege to see scientists, researchers, and other professionals involved in the abuse control, prevention and treatment and rehabilitation field partaking in this academic event. The overall goal of this conference is to facilitate an active exchange of information among scientists and other national and international levels stakeholders on the research of drug abuse and innovative concepts aimed at effective drug control strategies. The theme of the conference is joint commitment. So I'd like to emphasize on the joint commitments for creating drug-free society through evidence-based practices and innovative approaches. We know this drug menace, drug problem is a huge problem where one single organization cannot find a solution. Then what is the solution suggested? Available solution for this? The solution is nothing but networking. So I'm very happy today to see various agencies, organizations coming here and participate in this symposium and finally to network to fight the drug menace in this country. All these concepts are crucial and need to be integrated and considered for effective drug control activities. To accomplish this goal, the conference will facilitate learning through dynamic and interactive environment where opportunities will be created to research findings as well as discussions, sharing of experience and drawing a proposal and recommendation on common issues and problems in the field of the drug control. And I think one specialty of this conference is we have taken one thing called mindfulness, because JICA challenged us to take this issue into drug prevention. And I think this is the first time in prevention, education, treatment history that we have taken as one stream the mindfulness approach. I would like to extend my warmest welcome to my secretary as well as the Ministry of the Public Security, Mr. S. Kiarachi. Welcome. And then this is MSP Surya, the additional secretary, who always look after us very well, the APTCD, and all our board directors participating today. Miss Miss Yamada Junichi, Executive Senior Vice President, Japan International Corporation, JICA, Mr. Benjamin Rice, Secretary General of the Colombo Plan, and Ms. Unuchu Sumkavatna, I don't know whether I pronounced it properly, sorry, but Director Drug Advisory Program, the Colombo Plan, and then Dr. Nithali Party, Deputy Director Projects Colombo Plan, our Director Samantha J. Director Police Narcotics, Dr. Samantha Paksha, my good friend from NATA Chairman, Mr. M.J. Bonusiri, Commissioner General Excise, and representatives from the Excise Department, Mr. Udelia, the Commissioner General of Prisons, representatives from Satipasala, because we are discussing today mindfulness, Major General Darshana Hettiarachchi, Commissioner General of Rehabilitation, Dr. Asanjali Hettiarachchi, Director, the National City Council Program, and my colleague Chamika Jaisin, the Secretary General Healthy Lanka, who allowed me to use most of the material developed in Healthy Lanka to train my staff here in BDCP. So and all the panelists, presenters, authors, and the other participants. And I would like to extend my heartiest welcome to all other distinguished dignitaries. I would like to take the acknowledgement of all delegates and the International Symposium Committee who have worked hard to make this conference a truly successful and fruitful event. In the process, we lost one of our very good colleagues in the committee, which we have now remembered. I request all the delegates and participants to take part in all the activities that we have come up with for the next 2 days, including today. I wish everyone a successful and fruitful conference. Thank you. At the same time, I think I have to mention you, our Honorable Minister, Mr. Tiran Alas, was so eager to participate today, but unfortunately, he had some other commitments. So the minister sent us a message that I would like to read to you. This is the message from our Honorable Minister, Mr. Tiran Alas. This is the message. First of all, I express my appreciation to the Chairman and the Symposium Committee of the National Dangerous Drugs Control Board for steering the International Symposium on Drug-Related Studies 2022, as it is undoubtedly a timely requirement in an effort to eradicate the drug menace. I extend my thankfulness to the respected collaborative partners, the Colombo Plan and the Japan International Cooperation Agency, JICA, for their valuable contribution to providing financial and technical support to make this scholarly project a success in a time when Sri Lanka has to go through a major crisis in economy. As you all know, the crisis of drug menace is a stern issue in Sri Lanka that has a significant impact on children, youth, and adults. It is undeniably a problem that requires taking measures and actions in order to achieve a proper solution to eradicate it with the aim of protecting the future of Sri Lanka from the adverse effects. International Symposium on Drug-Related Studies organized by the NDDCP provides an excellent opportunity for researchers and experts in the field of drug control and prevention to network. I am very much encouraged to see scientists, researchers, and other professionals involved in this drug abuse control, prevention, treatment, and rehabilitation field that partake in this academic event. International Symposium on Drug-Related Studies facilitates the active exchange of information among scientists and other national and international level stakeholders on the reach of drug abuse and on the research of drug abuse and innovative concepts aiming at providing effective drug control strategies. The themes of the conference is joint commitment for creating a drug-free society through best evidence practices and innovative approaches, which expresses a broad range of issues that the conference is focusing on, particularly on scientific knowledge of drug control and effective evidence-based interventions at each level of the mechanisms on eradicating the illicit drug-related activities. I am prepared and obliged to provide support and assistance to take necessary action for the eradication of drug menace and invite all distinguished professionals to offer their views, opinions, and thoughts in this regard. I am extremely happy to acknowledge it. I once again extend my sincere regards to the prolific achievement of the International Symposium on Drug-Related Studies 2022. Thank you. Chiran Nalas, the Minister of Public Security.
Very big thank you to Mr. Shankiran Aikara, and also very big thank you to the Minister for sharing his message with us as well. So once again, Mr. Shankiran Aikara, what came to my mind while listening to your speech was a leader is someone who translates his vision into reality. And it's amazing to hear that this is the first international symposium. And ladies and gentlemen, that deserves a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Put your hands together for this wonderful initiative. Congratulations on that. And also, Mr. Shankiran Aikara, as well as in Minister's speech, it really highlighted the networking part. And what came to my mind is that if someone asks you, what's your net worth? It's the network that you have. And I believe that this is a massive opportunity for each and every one of you to network. And remember, why we network is to make a huge impact. And that impact is essential because we need to be the change that we always want to see. With that, ladies and gentlemen, to address the gathering, we would like to invite Secretary, Minister of Public Security, Mr. S. Hettiarachchi.
I'm not in the not there. So Benjamin, the Secretary of Government, Yamada, Chief President of JICA, and Miss Fellow of UNDOC. I think she's doing digital, and the chairman in this, and the coordinator from Symposium, and the president direction, and Varman from SPF, and other discipline guests, and all board members. Today, our minister also wants to participate, but you know that these days the budget is going on, so that he is unable to attend due to current situation. Anyway, let me offer my thanks to the organizers for inviting me to this forum and giving me this opportunity to address this gathering at the International Symposium of Drug-Related Studies this morning. Let me first elaborate briefly on the National Dangerous Drug Control Board, which was established by the NDDCP Act No. 11 of 1984, which is now functioning under the purview of the Ministry of Public Security. This is a national focal point national focal point in terms of the international drug control treaties for which Sri Lanka is a signatory. NDDCB is playing a vital role in drug control mechanism with the view of fully eradicated the drug from Sri Lanka and ensure drug-free country. Ladies and gentlemen, NDDCB is fully conscious of the emerging threats posed by dangerous drugs and psychotropic substances and their devastating effect in our nation, from school going children to the adults, irrespective of gender. The plight of the consequences of the mess is such not only the drug user himself suffer and destroy himself, but the entire family. He belongs to tribal towards misery. And the ultimate result is this trend affect the entire society and our nation as a whole. Today, the newspapers and all media reports, so many people from various ages are in prison or various rehabilitation centers because of drug addiction. Now it's the really threat to the country. It's not only Sri Lanka, all over the world. So these days, so Kulden is there. I know last weekend papers discuss about that the dangers of the situation. Now the prison is almost double filled because they can't. I mean, they are unable to facilitate the prison is the spillover more than double. Most of them are from bad. So that this type of symposium, various scientific people come from various areas and various countries come forward and discuss how to mitigate this type of disaster. So the nation can think this as an issue that could be handled alone. And this is a cross-border issue faced by the whole world. A concerned effort by all nations should be made if we are to achieve the desired goal of eradicating the drug from the world. That's why she mentioned that the networking is the network, because we have all stand together, otherwise we are unable to eradicate this problem. It is in such a background that the importance of event of this nature are being felt by everybody taken to see an end of this destruction. Therefore, organizing the symposium is a timely act by the National Dangerous Drug Control in Sri Lanka. Academic forums such as this are highly crucial as knowledge related to drug prevention, control, treatment, and rehabilitation should be disseminated among related academic professionals and other related agencies, especially for the formulation of policies and recommendations of modalities on implementation of such policies. These days, the Minister of Justice has taken steps to sometimes maybe change or sometimes maybe improvements to prevention of drugs. Recently, we might know that the most dangerous drug in these days is ice. Last week, the Parliament passed some regulations to get not only ice, other chemical related those substances to the police can the courts can find those people once they caught with the earlier. There's no such regulations and enactments. So the Parliament also is willing to give support to this eradicate of this kind of problem, so that as officials and as scientists and researchers, you have the opportunity to this type of forum to inform, to introduce new systems to prevent and eradicate the drugs problems in Sri Lanka, not only Sri Lanka, all over the world. That the chairman also mentioned that the new system, I mean, is a little bit close to Buddhism, the Bhavana system, and how to mind change using the various religious theories to prevent this kind of prevention of this drug abuse. And the ladies and gentlemen, the government of Sri Lanka treat eradication of drugs is one of its highest priorities in its agenda. This is the main reason why Honorable President has brought the NDTCP under the Ministry of Publicity, as both Sri Lanka Police and Drug Control Board are under the same ministry. Coordination of preventive rehabilitation measures and arresting activities have become easier. Sri Lanka Police, STF, Special Task Force, and Sri Lanka Navy, especially I want to thank Sri Lanka Navy, their effort to prevent that the coming most of drugs to Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka Navy are rendering the comparable service in combating inflow and distribution of drugs in the country. Sri Lanka committed to be guided by all international conventions and treaties like Single Convention of Narcotics in 1961, as amended by 1972 protocol, and Convention of Substance in 1971, UN Convention against illicit traffic in narcotic drugs and psychotropic substance in 1988, SARC Convention in narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances. Those are the basic treaties we are honored as country Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka as signatory to these treaties is committed to adhere to the provisions in these treaties conventions. The NDDCP operates its mandates through number of treatments and rehabilitation centers situated in Goa, Kandy, Colombia, Nicobar. In addition to these centers, the board conduct outreach program which, with the assistance of divisional secretaries, school administrators, Ramnilais, Samudurchas, social service officers, and religious leaders, by organizing programs to discourage use of drugs. These programs are quite successful to a certain extent. There are 2 social service centers and treatment centers managed by Sri Lanka Army, and 25 private treatment centers to assist in the process of treatment. One of the rehabilitation centers is on the card, managed by rehabilitation. The last one is here, but you know we had several problems in previous years as well as before 2 weeks back. So we want to think about that. The rehabilitation is to go through army or any other proper way, because the army, before that incident, the army explained that this is not their mandate, but unfortunately that Kandakadu Rehabilitation Center, which was used for ATP rehabilitation at that time, but these physical facilities to be used for the rehabilitation of these drug abusers. So now this is the time to think about that. I mean, not only this forum can discuss this type of things or things also, but in NDDCMP itself is unable to manage all these drug users, so that we want to think about a fresh way how to rehabilitate these people, so that we want to get some additional support from others, so that networking is very essential. Finally, I want to thank representatives of international agencies for the support they have given to Sri Lanka in combating drugs, and request their continued support for complete eradication, this menace, and we pledge our support to close our borders to international drug trafficking. And I wish all those people for next 2 days we are going to discuss those things. I think it's a good forum for them to discuss and get some kind of ideas, and they can exchange these ideas with themselves, and finally we expect some inputs from your side to eradicate this type of drug. So I thanks everybody, and I expect some fruitful things then after this forum. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hettiarachchi, for those valuable words. And I believe that you will definitely make sure that you will create an impact. The most amazing thing that you spoke about was making sure that we work together. And I believe working together as a team is essential. And when there's a problem, we need to find a solution. When there's an issue, we need to find a solution. So once again, a very big thank you to Mr. Hettiarachchi. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mr. Hettiarachchi. And again, what actually came to my mind when we spoke about working together, something I really believe is, if one of you fail, we all fail. And if one of you succeed, we all succeed. So as a nation and as a world, each human, each citizen needs to work hard and be the right path and succeed. That's when a nation and a world can be developed and succeed. With that, ladies and gentlemen, this forum is a reality because of two collaborating partners and a lot of hard work by the organizing committee. And one of them is the Colombo Plan. Let me give you a brief about the Colombo Plan. I believe that we all know about the Colombo Plan, but just to give you a brief. The history of the Colombo Plan for cooperative economic and social development in Asia and the Pacific is one of the oldest regional intergovernmental organizations. Dates back in 1950, when the idea was first conceived to enhance economic and social development of the countries of the region. The Colombo Plan is a partnership concept of self-help and mutual help in development aimed at socio-economic progress of its member countries. And we really appreciate the Colombo Plan for the financial contribution to the International Symposium on Drug-Related Studies 2022 and supporting to make this wonderful forum a reality. With that, ladies and gentlemen, to address the gathering, I'd like to invite Secretary General of the Colombo Plan, Dr. Benjamin Ryan.
Thank you. Before everything else, I would like to, of course, acknowledge my colleagues at the head table, Secretary S. Hetereachi of the Ministry of Public Security. Of course, our chairman, Mr. Shakya Diakara, and of course, our colleagues from JICA, ably represented by Ms. Kamal. And of course, our colleagues from UNODC, who I guess is joining us online, Ms. Combero, and all the rest, distinguished guests from various government agencies, our partners from the private and NGO sectors. So congratulations everyone for this momentous achievement. Sorry to hear that Mrs. Wira Singing passed away. When she and the former chairman, Dr. Amarabandu, approached us on this project, we immediately jumped on the opportunity because we felt this was long overdue. You recall, after the long pandemic, the dangerous drugs programs actually took a backseat. So we focused on addressing the COVID pandemic. But at the time, we were hoping that this symposium can reinvigorate the interest on drug matters. We're hoping that we can showcase models which Sri Lanka and other countries can adapt moving forward. And I'm happy to know, I was informed by our JICA colleagues that one of the models that will be presented later on in this symposium would be the Interlab model, which was implemented in the Philippines during my time as the Secretary of the Dangerous Drugs Board in the Philippines. And we have implemented that model in several treatment and rehab centers in the Philippines. So I'm glad it's already being showcased. And I'm also happy to know that both the Secretary and the Chairman has been emphasizing on joint commitment and working together. Because we all know that this drug industry is already went international and it's worth billions of dollars, illegal trade. And we need to make efficient use of whatever resources we have just to address this continuing problem. You all know that the Colombo Plan has the drug advisory program, and I have my whole team with me right now. It's okay, Mr. Chairman, I can also pronounce her name. Ms. Nut, we just called her Ms. Nut. It's difficult to pronounce her name. And of course, Dr. Panaboke and our finance officer is also here. And so we have been implementing drug advisory program as our flagship program. And in Sri Lanka alone, we have been conducting universal treatment curriculum trainings throughout the years. I will not mention all of them. During the pandemic, we actually developed the online modules for us to get better access to those trainings. And we have already have master trainers, Sri Lankans who have been trained internationally to do this work for us. Recently, we have also supported capability building for our laboratory analysis of illegal substances. And we are embarking on a ports project here in Sri Lanka together with the US government. And I guess this will also impact, again, illegal trade, especially if it diverted through our ports within the region. So all of these activities aside, let me just assure the Secretary, the Chairman, and everyone here of the continued support from the plan as far as dangerous drugs is concerned. We're happy to join you today on this momentous occasion. I just assumed my post last May 2, 2022. And just to let everyone know, please feel free to approach us and let us know how else we can support and help the program move forward. So again, congratulations to the organizers of this activity and good luck to all of us. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Dr. Benjamin Rice, and we really appreciate your kind words, and also especially thank you for showing your support, and we really appreciate that. And today is a reality because of the collaborative partners and your support as well. So thank you very much once again. And ladies and gentlemen, once again, let's put our hands together for the Colombo Plan and Dr. Benjamin Rice, a leader knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. And that's what came to my mind while listening to you. So we wish you all the very best once again. With that, ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for the launch of the abstract proceedings. To do the honors, we want to invite the Secretary, Ministry of Public Security, Mr. S. Etiarachi. Everyone has worked extremely hard, and right now what we're witnessing is the launch of the abstract proceedings. Congratulations, and we wish you all the very best. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your hard work. Congratulations once again, and we wish you all the very best. We can surely take a look at the screen. Congratulations once again, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. All the much. With that, I believe you're all excited for the keynote speech. To introduce the keynote speaker, we would like to invite Chairman NTDCB, Ms. Shakir Namakara.
It's a great pleasure as well as honor to introduce very eminent prevention, treatment, and rehabilitation practitioner, Ms. Giovanna Campello. Ms. Giovanna Campello is the chief of the Prevention, Treatment, Rehabilitation section of the United Nations Office of Drugs and Crime. Ms. Giovanna Campbell has over 20 years of experience and acquaintance with the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, aiding the member states and stakeholders at all levels in enlightening their drug prevention response, applying and contributing to the scientific evidence. Most remarkably, within this frame of reference, she has led the publication of the International Standards of Drug Use Prevention in 2013 and UNODC WHO second update edition in 2018. Since 2016, she has been the foremost of the Prevention, Treatment and Rehabilitation section of the UNODC, thus promoting evidence-based gender and human rights sensitive practices on drug prevention, treatment, care and rehabilitation, as well as access to controlled drug and medical purposes. Ms. Campello graduated from the London Schools of Economic and Political Science with a Bachelor of Science in International Relations and Masters of Art in Gender and Development from the Institute of Development Studies of University of Sussex, both in UK. Now, I would like to invite our distinguished keynote speaker, Ms. Giovanna Campello, to address us.
Ladies and gentlemen, our keynote speaker, Giovanna Campello. Giovanna Campello, can you hear us?
She's asking a minute. She's asking 1 minute.
Within few seconds, we will be connecting with our keynote speaker. Until we connect, ladies and gentlemen, I believe this is surely going to be an enlightening keynote speech. And also, there are more than 7 billion stories in the world. And out of these, 7 billion has now become 8 billion, to correct it. So, ladies and gentlemen, there are more than 8 billion stories in the world. And out of those 8 billion stories in Sri Lanka, we have 21 million stories. And out of that, your story is one. And out of that 8 billion stories, your story is one. And I believe we need to tell our story and we need to inspire and conquer the world. And ladies and gentlemen, our keynote speaker is with us today, and she is surely to inspire us for sure. With that, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for our keynote speaker, Ms. Giovanna Campello.
Good morning to everybody. Can you hear me? I can see myself on the big screen, and I can see many distinguished participants. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, and we can see
Oh,
you.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, and please forgive me if I speak a bit softly, but everybody is still sleeping here. And after for giving you my excuses and giving you my good morning, let me start with some words of appreciations. I would like to appreciate Mr. Sakia Nanayakara, the chairperson, and all of the colleagues in the National Dangerous Drugs Control Board for organizing this symposium and inviting us, and me in particular, for this keynote speech. And I know that there are many distinguished representatives from different ministries, the Colombo Plan, the Japanese International Cooperation Agency, UNAFE, which is the UN Asia and Far East Institute for Prevention of Crime and Treatment of Offenders. I know there are many about you, around you, that are from academia, researchers, civil society, and other relevant partners. And it's a great pleasure to be here today with you all. And before I start, I would like to acknowledge some sad news about the demise of a dear colleague of all of us, the Assistant Director of Scientific Research at NDDCB, Mrs. Babasara Virasinger. I had not had the honor to meet her personally, but my colleagues did. And she was bright, hardworking, and committed, keen to make a difference to promote drug demand reduction programs that are based on science and human rights. And in close collaboration with UNODC, she had contributed to the development of a comprehensive, balanced scientific strategy for the Sri Lankan national policy for drug use prevention and control. And I would like to acknowledge how her contributions and presence will be missed very much. And with this, dear friends, let me move to the core of my presentation. And you will need to indulge me with a little bit of patience some more, because I need to share my screen. I need to do this. Here it is. And in a few seconds, you should see my presentation. Yes, I think I can see that you can see it. Thank you so much. And in the next 20 minutes or so, it will be my pleasure to tell you a little bit about the approach to drug policy and practice that puts people, health, and science at its heart. That is the basis of what we promote at the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime. And make no mistake, I say it's the basis of what we promote, but we are at the service of member states, including, of course, the government of Sri Lanka. And this is an approach that I have not invented. It's been mandated to be by the member states, not lastly in the outcome document of the United Nations General Assembly Special Session that happened in 2016. But in many other documents as well. And of course, the kind of approach that I am presenting is very much in line with the 2030 agenda because it contributes to achieve Sustainable Development Goal Target 3.5 about strengthening prevention and treatment. But of course, we all know that a lot of our good work is also effective in reducing violence and eliminating violence against children. So we are also very strongly contributing if we put these kind of things in practice. Also, Sustainable Development Target 16.1 and 16.2. And this kind of approach is about using drug policies and strategies that are based on scientific evidence. So we know that they are effective, but also on human rights, on public health principles and gender considerations. And I hope in my presentation, you will be able to see all of these. And I will first talk a bit about prevention of drug use and then about treatment and care of drug use disorders. So when we are talking about prevention of drug use, of course, I'm talking about preventing the initiation of drugs. Let me check 1 second my presentation. Yes. Let me skip here. Yes. Preventing the initiation of drug use. So really, we want to intervene when people, and this is mostly children, are not using, so that we prevent that they start. Or if they have started and they have not developed dependence, we prevent that they transition to drug use disorders. And here on these slides, you can see a depiction of what the science tells us are the factors that put people at risk of starting to use drugs. And this is the dark blue ones on my left, and no, the red ones on my left, on my right, and on the left, you have the protective factors that increase the resilience of children, youth, and adults. And you can see that there are many different ones. They are factors connected to poverty, conflict, homelessness, having a dysfunctional family, being in a neighborhood that is not safe, or maybe it's violence, having mental health problem, trauma, and childhood adversity. And all of these factors I would like to draw to your attention are largely outside of the control of the individual, meaning nobody chooses to be born in a family that has problems, but this person will be affected for life by this. And so if later in life they develop a mental health problem, they develop a substance use problem, this should not be something that they should be punished for. I think we should always keep this in mind. But let me go back. What can we do to prevent drug use? And this is where you can see this document on the slide is the International Standards on Drug Use Prevention. And what we have done with the international standards, we have published them together with WHO, is to do a summary of what works and what doesn't work in prevention of drug use, and what work is summarized here. In here, you can see in this table all of the interventions that have been found to be effective in preventing drug use. And you can see that there are many different interventions that are active in the many different ages, from when children are very small throughout childhood and adolescence to adulthood. And you can work in many different settings: the family, the school, the community, the workplace, and the health sector. I don't have, obviously, the time to go through all of these in details. I'm sure that there will be other opportunities to do that. But let me take one example of an intervention that we find to be particularly effective, which is, let me see where it is. It's here, up here, parenting skills. These are programs where we develop, you work with parents, and you basically help them become better parents in very simple way, no judgment, just giving them some tips. And we think that these programs are so effective that we have developed programs that are tailored to the needs of low resource settings, of low and middle income countries, that are free, that are in the public domain. You can see the Strong Families programs is for families that are in difficult circumstances, and the Family United is for more normal circumstances. And we've been using them all around the world. Also, we also often promote the personal and social skills. Let me go back. Here, you can find them here: personal and social skills education in middle childhood, or preventive education based on social competence and influence. And these programs that you see in the slides are particularly tailored to early adolescents. And in these kind of programs with very interactive activities, you can you teach children their personal and social skills that will be able to protect them throughout their lives. Let me show you some data about how, for example, these kind of programs are effective, and especially the family program. Many people tell me, "Oh yes, Giovanna, family skills, this is stuff that works only in rich countries and communities." And I say no. We have the proof that these kind of programs work also in very difficult circumstances. They are recommended by WHO in very difficult circumstances. And I can show you some examples. For example, in this graph, you can see how in the green, you see the effectiveness of one of these programs in Honduras when we were working in very violent communities. In these graphs, you see in red family skill training effectiveness in poor communities in Iran. And you can see that I have chosen examples from all over the world. Also, we have indications that family-based prevention more consistently benefits both boys and girls. Other kinds of prevention benefit more the boys than the girls. And so this is an example of the gender considerations that I was telling you before. And we also know that, and this is from the research of WHO, that family-based prevention is also effective in preventing violence, particularly youth violence, and also child maltreatment. And this means that really they promote the mental health and child development also in very difficult circumstances. And all of these data that I've shown you, we present often scientifically. And here instead, I want to show you the effectiveness of another program. This is a personal and social skills program in schools that we used, for example, in Montenegro, and where you teach children just to take good decisions and to be more in control of their emotions. And you can see how our group of kids, if they are in blue, their prevalence changed very little. It's not significant. There it is, or even went down. But look at what happened in the prevalence in the group that did not do the program, it really went up, meaning that through our program, we really have prevented more young people from starting to use substances. This is also for boys and girls, and I was telling you of how we use family skills also in humanitarian settings and with families traumatized by conflict or by natural disasters. So I think that I hope I have given you some flavor of the amazing results that you can achieve with evidence-based prevention. And let me move now to the amazing results that you can achieve through treatment, healthcare, social protection, and rehabilitation services that's to support the health and recovery of people with drug use disorders. And I on purpose said all of these because I normally say, you know, what about treatment services? And I say treatment, but I mean so much more. I mean, all of the kind of services that are needed to protect the health and support the recovery, if they so wish, of people with drug use disorders. And here you have the entire continuum. And we all know that in this case, also the situation is very difficult with very global limited access to drug dependence treatment. I'm looking forward to seeing the calculation for Sri Lanka and seeing the big task that is ahead of us. We know that the situation is particularly serious for women with drug use disorders, which have very little access to treatment, and for adolescents. And we know that the situation is particularly serious for people in contact with the criminal justice system and in prison settings, where there is a lot of people with drug use disorders and with health indicators that are much worse than the health indicators of the general population. And again, in this case, we know that the situation is worse for women drug offenders than for men drug offenders. We also know that unfortunately in many countries, there are punitive practices and human rights abuses that are perpetrated, that are done in the name of treatment. That is not treatment. Let me be very, very clear. It's not evidence-based, but it's not a treatment anyway. They are human rights violation, chaining people, locking them up, keeping them there against their will. These are all practices that have no place in evidence-based treatment, and they are ineffective. And they are against, of course, the commitment that all countries have taken in respecting the human rights of people. Again, also here we have summarized what works, what doesn't work, the science in the international standards for the treatment of drug use disorders, and what I'm presenting to you is taken from this document, of course. And in the document, we promote a variety of voluntary services, drug treatment, care, and recovery services based on the principle of public health. And what does that mean? It means that you need to balance the offer of the services with the frequency of need and the cost. And there will be services that are cheaper and can reach more people, and are maybe not effective for the most severe cases, but are effective for the majority of people. And those are the services that you really need to invest on and keep. Residential services, which are maybe they are more costly, but are very effective for the most severe cases, for that small group that really, really need it. And so you see that a treatment system that is based on public health principles. Is a bit like a pyramid where there is a lot of informal community care, a lot of work in the primary health services, and then a bit less work, but still a lot of specialized drug-dependent services, especially outpatients, keeping the long-stay residential services for the top of the pyramid, for the cases that are more severe and really benefit from being in a different environment that they are usually. What is important to note is also the fact, why am I even talking about public health? And I think it's important to underline that I'm talking about public health because drug use disorders are chronic health conditions. And the science about this is so strong that this fact, the fact that drug dependence is a complex multifactorial health disorder characterized by chronic and relapsing nature, I am reading from here, has been endorsed unanimously by all of the member states of the United Nations in the outcome document of the General Assembly Special Session of 2016. And so really this scientific understanding of drug use disorders as a public health problem has been really strongly mandated to us by all of the member states of the United Nations. And this understanding has very direct consequences. So if drug use disorder are a health condition, treatment and care and not punishment is the appropriate and effective response. And this also means the treatment must be voluntary, as it is normal for all medical therapies. And I mentioned here that this is a chronic health condition, and it's also mentioned in the outcome document. This means that relapse is normal, is a normal course of the health condition, and it's not something that should be punished, but it's something that can very effectively be managed, and with supporting the person with drug use disorder on his or her path to recovery, without making a huge drama about it, but simply accepting that this is part of the normal course of a chronic health condition. It can and should be managed, and people can live productive life, even if every now and then, often for circumstances completely beyond their control, they relapse, as it is normal, again, for the management of all chronic health conditions that never really go away. So in all of this, that is why we are, the standards describe services based on public health principles, and in the standards we promote services in a different kind of settings, in many different kind of settings, and I will go basically through the pyramid only through some beautiful picture from all around the world, where that have been taken by Nick Danziger, who is a renowned photographer that worked with us to document the good work of drug treatment services all around the world. And the first setting is, of course, outreach, low threshold, and outpatient treatment. That should be the backbone, the basis of your pyramid. And in this case, for example, I'm very proud to just tell you a tiny bit about a good program that we did, which was Stop Overdose Safely in 4 countries in Central Asia. We trained 14,000 people likely to witness an overdose, gave them naloxone, which, as you know, is a very safe and non-psychoactive medication that can reverse an opioid overdose, saving lives and breaking stigma. And maybe in another occasion, there will be the opportunity to tell you a little bit more about this very good project. This is the kind of work that you would do in this kind of setting: outreach, low threshold, and outpatient treatment. Of course, then you would want to provide evidence-based pharmacological treatment if it's appropriate, depending on the substance that people are using. But of course, with opioid dependence, there are very effective pharmacological treatment options. But of course, there are also many people that are using substances that do not have a pharmacological option, and we have, fortunately, very strong and very good evidence-based psychosocial treatment that also should be part of your system. And then, of course, all of those support, social economic support, family support, and community cohesion that are needed to support the recovery of and the rehabilitation of people with drug use disorder. And the important thing is also that you have all of these services. There are many services. The important thing is that they are in contact with each other, and there is no wrong door. And that if a person with drug use disorder comes to a service and it's not the right kind of service at that point, there is nobody that will say, not here, you go over there. You will lose that patient. You need to start providing service there and then, working on their motivation and accompanying them to different services if needed. And there should be no wrong door, and again, no punishment for relapse. So you see here that people that are in social reintegration may relapse and who should be able to come back into the system and keep in contact with the system all the time as they need. What we also do in our work is not only to help countries to actually, how can I put it, create this kind of services that I've shown you in the picture, but also develop quality assurance mechanisms so that we don't end up with human rights abuses or no evidence-based practice in the name of treatment, but we really provide high quality and effective services to the people that would need it. And here you can see some of the mechanisms, some of the tools that we use with services all around the world to assess them and help them improve. And I hope that eventually also in Sri Lanka, we might want to consider the mechanism of this case. This is an example of one of our packages that is a psychosocial intervention that is particularly effective for adolescents that use drugs and possibly they are even in contact with the family, with the criminal justice system. And this is family therapy. And you can see here, this data is from the original family therapy studies, but we have created a package that is tailored to the needs of low resource settings, maybe countries where there are not many psychologists and psychiatrists, and really create a package that can be delivered by counselors. And we have piloted in Southeast Asia with the support of the government and the people of Japan. I have to underline that. And I hope very soon to be able to show you our own data from Indonesia and from Vietnam and possibly from many other countries. I was mentioning before the gender consideration and the fact that the situation is often more difficult for women with drug use disorders. The standards also have a section that is particularly devoted to the treatment of women with drug use disorders, but we also have very specific guidelines that the World Health Organization has developed for all of us for the identification and management of disorders in pregnancy. And this is an incredibly important time to intervene. because if a woman with tracheostomy disorders is pregnant, this is a time where she wants to do the best for herself and for the baby to be, and an intervention will help not only her health, but will also help the health of the baby to be. And so there are very clear evidence-based and voluntary services that can be provided for this very vulnerable group, but a group that is supporting which can create such amazing results. A last word, what is promoted also by our member states, and by we have some tools to for your consideration, is of course using treatment as an alternative to conviction and punishment, and about which we have a pilot in Kenya and in Nigeria. And the good thing that I would like to conclude with is I started, when I talked about prevention, I started with the evidence. And now I've given you all that needs to be done. And I want to show you the evidence. I want to show you the amazing results that you can achieve if you provide voluntary and evidence-based treatment. And remember that I say treatment, but I am talking about all of the continuum of services: outreach, outpatient, pharmacological, psychosocial, healthcare, social protection, rehabilitation, residential services. All of these are under the umbrella of voluntary and evidence-based treatment. And we have science that shows to us that voluntary and evidence-based treatment decreases drug use, decreases crime rates, decreases overdoses, decreases incarceration, decreases prison overcrowding and associated problems. And that it costs less. It costs less than probation. It costs less than incarceration, and it costs less than doing nothing. So I think you can see how voluntary and evidence-based treatment and prevention are good for the health of the individual and communities, and also for security. So I want to put your mind at ease that you're not sacrificing security for health, but that the two go hand in hand with health and human rights. And I hope I have inspired you a little bit to join us in this wonderful journey. I know that we will have the possibility to work with the government of Sri Lanka in the near future, and I hope on this basis. And I'm looking forward to the great results that we are going to be able to achieve for the people of Sri Lanka, for the children, the youth, the families of Sri Lanka, and for the people who use drugs and people with tracheostomy disorders. I thank you so very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Ms. Giovanna. And yes, you did inspire all of us. And thank you very much for sharing very, very, very important points, especially drug prevention, treatment, and rehabilitation aspects in an international point of view. And also, it's amazing how you presented the emerging trends and the major concerns which we really need to give a lot of attention to, and what we should address globally. And I believe that each and every one of us who are gathered here today will work hard to make a huge impact and inspire the world. So once again, a very big thank you to Ms. Giovanna Campbell for inspiring, enlightening, and supporting. And we wish you all the very best to inspire millions and millions, and to see this world as a beautiful, wonderful place that we all can live in a wonderful world together. So ladies and gentlemen, once again, let's put our hands together for Ms. Giovanna Campbell. To present the token of appreciation to our keynote speaker, we would like to invite Secretary Minister of Public Security, Mr. S. Tiarachi, and Chairman of ADCB, Mr. Shankar Naikana. And to receive it on behalf of Ms. Giovanna Campbell, we would like to invite National Program Officer, Ms. Buddhika Dhananji, and Admin and Finance Associate, Mr. Thaminda Pereira. Can we please have you on stage to present the token of appreciation for the representatives who will be collecting that on behalf of Ms. Giovanna Campello. And Ms. Giovanna Campello, this is a very kind gesture from our side to appreciate your time, because we know right now the time is around 5 a.m. there, and you've been virtually connecting with us all the way from Vienna, and we really appreciate it. Thank you very much. And very thank you to the thank you so much, and a very thank you to our dignitaries. And ladies and gentlemen, once again, let's put our hands together for the keynote speaker, Ms. Giovanna Campello, all the way from Vienna. Success is not a destination, but a beautiful journey. You win, you achieve, you succeed, but we need to find more solutions and think innovatively and move forward. With that, ladies and gentlemen, another wonderful collaborative partner who made this day a reality is JICA. So we would really like to appreciate and give you a glimpse about JICA. Yes, we know about JICA, but let's do the honors of introducing a little bit of JICA. So the Japan International Cooperation Agency, JICA, is a single window for Japan's official development assistance. And JICA is celebrating 40 years of partnership with Sri Lanka this year. And I believe that is a huge applause, ladies and gentlemen, 40 years in partnership with Sri Lanka. Let's put our hands together for JICA. Congratulations for that. And once again, we also would like to say JICA has provided a financial contribution by allocating funds for platinum sponsorship and provided distinguished speakers, panelists, both local and Japanese academic experts with profound scholarly backgrounds for the International Symposium on Drug-Related Studies 2022. So a very big thank you to JICA for making this day a reality. With that, ladies and gentlemen, to address the gathering, we'd like to invite Chief Representative of Japan International Cooperation Agency, JICA, Mr. Tetsuya Yamada.
Mr. Mitarashi, Secretary to the Ministry of Public Security. Mr. Shaki Nanayaka, Chairman, NDDCB. Dr. Benjamin Rice, Secretary General of Global Fund, and Ms. Giovanna Campello, Chief of the Prevention, Treatment, and Rehabilitation Section of UNODC. All participants, both physically and online, very good morning and good afternoon. So first of all, thank you very much for joining us for this very important event. I am very much honored to have this opportunity to give a few remarks at the beginning of this very important symposium today. JICA has provided a training program for NDDCB regarding the prevention of drug abuse since 2020. With a very generous support from the Ministry of Health, Labor, and Welfare of Japan, as well as the Ministry of Justice of Japan, we have been conducted one physical training program in Japan, as well as the online training program so far. And next coming February, we'll be welcoming another group of officers from Sri Lanka, from NDDCB, and other relevant Sri Lankan institutions to Japan to study the policy and regulations and practices against drug abuse and community-based rehabilitation and collaboration among other related organizations. And I'm so happy to note for this particular symposium, we were able to recommend two very renowned speakers from JICA. The first speaker is Mr. Lasik Vikramasinghe, the commander at Sri Lanka Coast Guard. He will talk about the utilization of sea routes for drug trafficking in Sri Lanka. Mr. Lasik recently completed successfully the 2-year master program in Japan on maritime safety and security policy program.
under the JICA Scholarship Program. The program was jointly provided by National Graduate Institute for Policy Studies, GRIPS in Japan, as well as the Japan Coast Guard under the Japanese government's strong initiative for the achievement of our important policy of free and open Indo-Pacific. And upon the completion of his study, Mr. Rashid had an opportunity to pay a courtesy visit to our Prime Minister, Mr. Kishida, and it was very much widely reported in Japanese media. And second speaker is Mr. Otsuka, who is a very experienced probation officer in Japan, and he is currently serving as a professor at UNAFE, United Nations Asia and Far East Institute, and he will be talking about the community-based treatment of the drug users. We understand that the community-based treatment is one of the most important agenda in Sri Lanka too. Drug use is a serious problem in all the world, including Japan, of course. It deprives the young people of their precious lives and their future. It is a crime, but at the same time, drug users tend to be the vulnerable people that need to be rescued by the society as a whole. And prevention of drug-related crimes is the one of the most indispensable elements of rule of law. And rule of law, of course, needless to say, that's a very important concept under free and open Indo-Pacific policy, which was created and initiated by the late Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. We believe this particular symposium will be an important opportunity for Sri Lankan officers and practitioners to work on drug abuse issues, to learn about the international experiences on various measures against drug abuse, and also it will be a great opportunity for the international society and practitioners to know about the challenges that Sri Lankan governments and people are facing. Lastly, I would like to mention that this year, year 2022, not only are we celebrating the 40th anniversary of JICA establishment in this beautiful country, but also we are celebrating the 70th anniversary of the establishment of the both diplomatic relationship between the two countries. So we are very much happy to contribute to this very important symposium this time, and hope our friendship between Japan and Sri Lanka develops further. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tetsuya Yamada. We really appreciate your support and congratulations for the 70th anniversary as well as the 40th anniversary with the partnership with Sri Lanka as well, JICA. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, let's put hands together for JICA and Mr. Tetsuya Yamada. Thank you very much for your valuable words, and once again, very thank you for the support and the making sure that today is a success with wonderful speakers, professionals, and also motivation and also supporting in a massive way. So thank you very much. And ladies and gentlemen, to present the tokens of appreciation, we would like to invite Secretary, Ministry of Public Security, Mr. S. Hetiarachi, and Chairman, NDCB, Mr. Shankar Namakaya. To accept the token of appreciation, we would like to invite Secretary General of the Colombo Plan, Dr. Benjamin Grimes. And ladies and gentlemen, the collaborative partners with Colombo Plan, and a very thank you to Dr. Benjamin Grimes for their support, their valuable time. Thank you. With that, to accept the token of appreciation, we would like to invite Chief Representative of JICA, Mr. Tetsuya Yamada. We really appreciate your time, your valuable words, and the support towards this symposium, and especially supporting to make this forum a successful one and a reality. Ladies and gentlemen, Chief Representative of JICA, Mr. Tetsuya Yamada. Thank you very much. And very thank you to the dignitaries. Thank you very much. All right, once again, let's put our hands together for the collaborative partners, the Colombo Plan, JICA, and especially NDDCP and Ministry, and every single person who made this day a reality. To present the vote of thanks, we'd like to invite Co-Secretary, Assistant Director of Research, NDDCP, Mr. Tamara Darshanam.
Good morning, honors, guests, present excellencies, presenters, all the co-authors, and other distinguished guests. So I extend my sincere gratitude for giving me the opportunity to express my gratitude on this special day. First of all, I express my sincere gratitude to our chief guest, Mr. Kiarachi, Secretary, Minister of the Public Security. And this incredibly a prime day in the history of the National Dangerous Drug Control Board. Today, we have hosted one of most immense and crucial international symposium in Sri Lanka, honored by the co-partnership with Colombo Plan and Japan International Cooperation Agency. So I express my sincere thankfulness and appreciation to our distinguished collaborative partners, the Colombo Plan and JICA, for their precious support and contribution. Distinguished international representatives, local and international academics, scholars and experts gracing the ceremony. This is a tremendous success and achievement itself. I extend my sincere gratefulness for the outstanding guidance and leadership, Chairman of the National Dangerous Drug Control Board, Mr. Chaplin Anankara, and on behalf of the Chairman of the National Dangerous Drug Control Board and the International Symposium Committee, I express my heartfelt thanks to our distinguished speaker, Ms. Giovanna Campello, Chief of the Prevention and Treatment Rehabilitation Section of the UNODC, for the outstanding scholarly contribution. So I'd like to show gratitude to all representatives, especially Dr. Benjamin P. Rice, the Secretary General of the Colombo Plan, and other directors and deputy directors of the Colombo Plan. Then I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Mr. Yamada, Chief Representative of the JICA, and other representatives from the JICA. Then I would like to extend my sincere thankfulness my Director Research, Ms. Bhadrani Senanayake, and my research team for their untiring efforts and contribution. And members of the board, the senior staff of the NDDCP, and procurement unit, IT unit, admin unit, transport unit, finance unit, for their impeccable support and your efforts. And I extend my regards to the coordinator of the event coordinator of the International Symposium, Ms. Avanti Suryan, for her valuable contribution and efforts. And I would like to express my thankfulness to all the distinguished panelists who have offered their scholarly contribution, and presenters and authors who have exhibited their scholarly efforts and talents. And I would like to thank the organizing team and all the staff members and representatives from the other government institutions and other ministries, departments, and law enforcement agencies. And extend my special regards to Dr. Ms. Priyangi Amarbandu, the former chairperson of the National Dangerous Drug Control Board, and late Ms. Pabasara Veerasinghe, the former assistant director and former co-secretary of the Symposium. And undeniably, without their knowledge, expertise, and support, this scholarly effort shall not be a reality. Finally, I once again thank respected representatives and all the parts. Thanks again for making the Rapid Studies 2022 a fruitful event.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tamara Darshana. And a very thank you to the dignitaries on the head table and also every single person who participated, and wish you all the best to all the presenters. And I believe that you're all excited. So to give you a quick overview about what's going to happen about the sessions. Session 1 will be at the Link Hall, where we will be discussing the new contents of drug addiction recovery. And session 2 parallelly will be happening at the Andrews Hall, where they will be discussing about drug prevention to ensure the future of children, youth, families, and communities. And I think that you will surely network and believe that you will have a wonderful network, and also that you will surely develop yourself. And the beautiful thing is that we are right on time on agenda, which is fantastic. And I believe that deserves a huge round of applause as well, ladies and gentlemen. And finally, come on, put your hands together. That is wonderful. I conclude, I am sharing few words with you. If you take a fruit, you can count the number of seeds inside that fruit. But if you take a seed, you cannot predict the number of fruits it will bear one day. Similarly, each and every one in this lovely audience, you are a seed. You cannot predict the number of lives you will be impacting. So always work hard, always do your best, and always go the extra mile and do more than expected. Because I believe we need to make a change that we always wanted to see and receive. So keep inspiring, keep doing great, and most importantly, keep smiling. Signing off, I'm Vandhi Jayasinghe. Take care and do enjoy the refreshments while you network. Thank you.